Hey everybody, John from Movie Burners here, and today I'm going to be discussing a film I watched a couple of weeks back, more than a couple of weeks back now actually, and I actually did a written review about it around about that time as well, and it's the Stephen Frears release, Victoria and Abdul. Now, Stephen Frears is of course a man who has had great success directing intimate biopics focusing on the British monarchy. Of course he was responsible for The Queen, which starred Helen Mirren, netted her an Oscar win. It was a very critically acclaimed film, and he is also the man who directed the Colin Firth-led King's Speech, another film which netted the lead protagonist a Oscar win and another critically acclaimed film as well. And in this time he is working with Judi Dench and focusing a little bit further back in history, in the late 1800s, on Queen Victoria. And basic premise of the story is it's focusing on Queen Victoria and her relationship with a young Indian attendant by the name of Abdul Karim. Now, this was a piece of history which was really covered up for nigh on a century, thanks to Victoria's children, most notably Bertie, Prince of Wales, and her daughter Beatrice, who burnt all the correspondence between the two figures. Now, this was a decade-long relationship, and the real reason behind the cover-up was that they frowned upon her relationship with this man, and they felt that her really corresponding with what they deemed to be a foreign pauper was not befitting of a person of her majesty, if you like. Now, this relationship wasn't really discovered until a young Indian journalist by the name of Shibrani Basu stumbled upon some evidence of Abdul's involvement in the monarchy around about that time period, looked into some Urdu notes which were left untouched, and then she discovered the scale of the relationship, and then this is basically what the film was based on. Now, as I said in my written review, I'm not a fan of the British monarchy. I'm a Scottish, Irish descended person, and they're not my cup of tea. I've never been one for lavishing praise on these people. They serve no real purpose, and I've always been a little bit bemused at the praise that's heaped on them by what they would term underlings. But you know what, I have had a bit of an odd fascination with these sort of films in the past, and I really did enjoy Stephen Frears' aforementioned films, The Queen and The King's Speech, despite really disliking Colin Firth for some reason, I don't know why. And I also liked the Queen Victoria film for a couple of years ago as well. But this one is very much a character-driven, dialogue-heavy, intimate portrayal of Queen Victoria. It's firmly focused on her, and Dame Judi Dench is utterly fantastic in this film. She carries the film for the most part, and it's a brilliant performance with lots of poignancy, laughter, and sadness as well in some ways, because she really did cut a lonely, isolated figure at this point in her life. She'd seen a lot of heartache and loss, and this is brilliantly portrayed on the screen by both Frears and Dench. Whether Dench has done enough to win an Oscar for this performance, I don't know so much. There's a lot of competition in that category this year, but I suppose we'll have to see. The story itself, it begins in the late 1800s, as I said, during Queen Victoria's Golden Jubilee celebrations. Abdul was brought over to be part of the celebration. He's working in the servant staff, and his role is really to hand over a minted coin to solidify the relationship between India and the British Empire. His honesty, his innocence, and his lack of airs and graces round about the Queen, really treating her as a human being first instead of royalty, immediately garners respect from Victoria, who is quite frankly sick of the sycophants that have gathered round about her, and are quite aloof, distant, and just gets really. So their relationship really builds from that early part in the film onwards. It's as I say, it's a decade-long relationship, and the film is very quick in its pacing for the most part. For an intimate biopic anyway, it jumps around time-wise as well. They go on trips to the Isle of Man, I believe, and they go up to Scotland as well. He's teaching her Urdu lessons, and the bond is almost a maternal relationship they have, with her entrusting and confiding all her problems and her past in him, and he does the same, telling her all about his time in India, and he ends up bringing his family over, and as he becomes more and more entrenched in her life, she looks to really power him and promote him further and further up the ranks, and this leads to envy, downright racism, and ignorance within her servant staff in the house or the palace, and within her family as well, her closest family members. We see a real anti-Abdul campaign start to garner apace with doctors, the Prime Minister, her son Bertie, aka Edward VII, really doing everything in the power to separate the two, really throw mud at Abdul's name, his upbringing, his background as a pauper, if you'd like, and his personality. And this has the opposite effect. They were hoping Victoria becomes even more entrenched, even more stubborn and determined, and she decides she's going to promote him ever higher, suggesting a knighthood. And this, of course, causes utter chaos. Now, as I said earlier, it's very much a Victoria-dominated film, but Abdul does share quite a bit of screen time with her throughout the film, and I've seen a lot of criticism aimed at this film and its portrayal of Abdul as a character. They seem to believe that it was very whitewashed. He was two-dimensional and he didn't get the development he deserved. Now, I fundamentally disagree with this in terms of the two-dimensional attacks. You have to remember, not a lot is known about Abdul Karim. It's very much all the correspondence between them is through Urdu notes between the pair. We don't know a lot about him, and I think these people should just be happy that this chap's finally having some limelight shined on him, and we're getting to find out about him after nearly 100 years of cover-ups and silence on the relationship. And I thought Ali Fazal was actually very, very good. He had really good on-screen chemistry with the much older Dame Judi Dench, and the two worked off each other well. He's not an actor I was aware of prior to this film, and I thought he'd done absolutely fine. Other performances, I liked Eddie Izzard as the deeply unlikable Bertie, Prince of Wales. There's something seriously wrong going on there, because he looks like a strange love child of the real man. I don't know what's going on there, it was quite odd. In terms of other performances, I believe Michael Gambon was in there, and there was a couple of other chaps whose names forget me at the moment, but should speak volumes, and that they were okay but they didn't leave a lasting impact on me. As the film kind of gets into its finale, we really see Victoria's health failing. She's on her last leg. She's telling Abdul to really get out of the country, because she envisages exactly what's going to happen. If he doesn't, he decides, no, I'm going to remain loyal to my friend. He stays, and of course straight after the funeral he is unceremoniously booted out of the country, and all sort of the correspondence and notes and evidence of their relationship together is burnt, destroyed. And the film ends with him, I believe, outside the Taj Mahal, paying homage to a statue of his friend. Now, I always ask myself when I watch films like this, did I enjoy it? That's the most important thing. Did I enjoy watching the film? And I have to say, I thoroughly enjoyed this film. It's not a perfect film, it has its flaws, but as an intimate biopic, it certainly ticked all the boxes for me. It got a range of emotions coming out of me during it. I was very angry at the treatment of Abdul, but I also had moments of laughter. Victoria's brutal put downs and her dry wit, and as a whole I thought it pretty much flew in. I enjoyed the film. I think it was about 2 hours long, and you know what, I would recommend giving it a watch if you're into this sort of thing. Obviously if you're not into it, then give it a pass, but it was a very good film for the most part, and I will be giving it a 3.5 out of 5. Remember guys, if you're enjoying the content we're putting out, then be sure to subscribe to us on YouTube and iTunes, and give us a little follow on Facebook at Movie Burner Entertainment, and on Twitter at Movie Burners. You can also catch up with all the latest reviews we're putting out at the Movie Burner blog on movieburnerentertainment.org. Until the next time, goodbye.